Bless me, O Internet, for I have sinned. This is the White Bowser here, and I'm showing up for a confession on the Internet. I've dressed up in full church garb, and we're gonna get straight into it. Now, what I'm going to discuss in this video will be full transparency about what I did wrong at Imagine Macomb, and I'll do a part 2 to this video where I describe what I did wrong on the anime Discord server. Now, before we even get started with any of this, I want to preface this with the simple excerpt. I did not mean for any of this to happen. I did not prey on anyone intentionally, and nothing was done that I wanted to happen. Now, did I make mistakes? Yes, of course I made mistakes. Will I man up for them and confess to you what my mistakes were? Yes, right now I will confess to you what my mistakes were. I dress up in confession uniform because I am doing a YouTuber apology, I guess you could say. But what I've realized is that this apology video won't matter. There's still gonna be assholes online who don't care about the apology. There's gonna be I've said this time and time again how I've received forgiveness for my actions, but still doesn't matter to assholes on the internet. They don't care. You don't care that I received forgiveness for what I did. You don't. So, don't know really why I'm doing this video, but still gotta fess up for what I did. Still gotta confess my sins. So, I will now confess my sins. I started working at Imagine Macomb Theaters around around January of 2019, and I worked there for almost 3 years up until June of 2021. Now, one thing you really have to understand is I enjoyed every single moment of working at Imagine Macomb. I had plenty of friends working at Imagine Macomb. Plenty. I was known as the popcorn machine because I would serve popcorn to tons of customers super fast. I would there was never a dull moment working at Imagine Macomb. I enjoyed all my coworkers. I enjoyed their company. I enjoyed the friends I made. And I really was the spirit of the workplace. I feel I was the spirit of the workplace because I enjoyed every second of that job. There was a time working at Imagine Macomb where I was offered a supervisory position just before this incident, this accident happened. I was offered a supervisory position at Imagine Macomb. I was by the human resources manager, my friend Nick. My friend Nick and I, we, even when he was a lead at Imagine Macomb, he was such a good friend, and he understood that what I did was an accident, that it wasn't intentional. Even my best friend at Imagine Macomb, Gio, who went on to become a supervisor in my stead after I quit Imagine Macomb, he said, Earl, what you did to their cartoons wouldn't even hold up in court because it was an accident, because it was unintentional. And that was one thing that I really never understood. How can I be a sex offender if what I did was unintentional? If what I did truly was an accident? It's like, doesn't mean I don't feel shame for it. I feel shame for what I did. A real sex offender would feel pleasure for what they did. I feel the exact opposite of pleasure. I feel disgust for what I did. I do. So, but let me get back into it. I had lots of great times working at Imagine Macomb. Lots of great friends. And truly, you guys, the internet, only really know the half of the story of what happened. But now that you know this intro of the friends I have at Imagine Macomb, Geo, Nick. Geo was the kind of person that told me that it wasn't your fault. It was an accident. Geo even told me that I should stop blaming myself for what happened. Geo and I, we both wish it never did happen, because it soiled the entire relationship I had with everyone at Imagine Macomb. Was big brother Matt. I had to fess up. I remember approaching his big brother Matt and apologizing to him for what I did to her. That took balls. That took balls to walk up to big brother Matt and apologize to him for what I did to his little sister. Now, what I don't understand, was 18 years old at the time this happened. She was 18 years old. And to anyone online who wants to say that I sexually assaulted a minor, you're wrong. And I know you're wrong. Because twin sister, her name she was 18 going on 19 years old when this happened. So to anyone online who wants to say I assaulted a 17-year-old, 16-year-old, 14-year-old, 8-year-old, you're telling lies. You're telling straight lies. You're only telling those lies to make you feel better about yourself. Me, I don't feel good about what I did. Why should I feel good about what I did? No, I think I was 18 years old at the time, and even though what happened was a pure accident, that was unintentional, that I felt such disgust and shame for what I did, and that's one other thing I don't understand either. I know I was the perpetrator for my actions. I know was the victim. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't feel shame for what I did. Everyone should feel shame for what they... the common logical person would feel shame for what they did in this situation. Even if it was unintentional, even if it was an accident. So, let's get into the nitty-gritty of what happened. On June 24th, 2021, Nick called everyone in the theater. He called everyone over in the theater to the corner of the theater to have a meeting. It was an obligatory meeting, which means you had to show up. I had to show up. I had to show up. Matt had to show up. Everyone had to show up to this meeting. Everyone did. You didn't have a choice whether or not to show up. You had to show up to the meeting. So that was like the first thing that set the stage. You know, everyone was obliged to show up to the meeting. The human resources manager, Nick, made you show up there. So everyone showed up to the meeting. This meeting was meant to close down the theater quickly, efficiently, and effectively. Nick was going to assign everyone their jobs and, get the job done fast so everyone could go home fast. Now, most of you know this part of the story, okay? One thing that was customary to do during the obligatory human resources meeting was everyone would put their hand in the middle and say, "Go imagine," right? Well, Mama didn't want to do that. Didn't want to do the Power Rangers-esque "Go imagine" bit. She didn't want to do it. I wasn't thinking at the time. I was foolish. I was stupid. I was. And I have to learn to forgive myself for what I did. But let me just explain what I did. Walked this way. I swung my left arm over, grabbed her left shoulder. She turned around, way too fast for me to react. My hand slipped. It touched her chest. That's what you call... And much to my dismay, much to how I hate to admit it, I groped someone. Yes. I groped a woman. And that is my own sin that I have to bear, that I had to ask for forgiveness for. Now, bear in mind, I was really quite in shock when the whole thing went down. I had never touched a boob before. I was just sort of frozen in place. Now, I only, quote-unquote, groped her for 5 seconds, max. Doesn't matter. I still did something wrong. I still have to fess up for what I did. My first mistake really was when I grabbed her shoulder. I shouldn't have done that. I recall when I was talking with the general manager of the theater, John, at the time, he said to me in a sort of fatherly-esque way, "You're not getting punished for your first mistake wasn't when she turned around and you touched her chest. Your first mistake was when you grabbed her shoulder." And he's right. He's right. That was my first mistake. That was something I never should have done. And I really wish that it never happened. Because I hurt someone after that. And I felt the utmost shame and disgust after what happened had happened. My hand slipped and it touched her chest. That's all I can say. It truly was an anime-esque moment. Kind of fitting since I'm such an anime nerd, but I digress. Days after that incident passed, I kind of went home after that, because my manager, who saw it happen, he dismissed me early. Didn't really tell me what I did. I hadn't even realized what I did. I had groped a woman and not even had any recollection nor memory of it happening because it happened so fast. Because I was in shock of touching a boob. You know, the craziest part is that she was kind of a flat chest. She was like no bigger than a B cup. It was actually her twin sister who got the good genes. But we're gonna stop talking like an asshole. My apologies. I'm in confession here. I should be talking more maturely towards the audience. What I did was wrong. And I felt great shame for it. I felt such great shame for it that I quit my job at Imagine Macomb. I was not fired. I quit. If you read my initial Reddit post that I made on r/confessions, Which, by the way, I really appreciate how you trolls online had to dig through my Reddit history just to find r/confessions. Keep in mind, r/confessions is the kind of subreddit where you confess something you did wrong, where you go to receive forgiveness. That's the whole point of the subreddit. But nope, no, not for smoky MCC internet trolls. Nope, forgiveness does not exist. Confessions do not exist. The only thing that exists is conviction. And towards the conviction towards which I did, I've learned that forgiveness really doesn't come from the internet, does it? Because I could say this a million times. Say how I remember going back to the movie theater after I quit my job. And my supervisor said, "Earl, everyone understands what happened was an accident. It doesn't matter though. You hurt Kayla. So from now on, every time you visit the movie theater, you can't stay here. You have to leave." Now, like, leave right away after you see the movie. You can't just stay and hang out. And that was a sad revelation for me, because I was already disgusted with myself for what I did, but it hurt me a lot that I traumatized somebody. I, as a Catholic, have always believed in forgiveness. And for the first time in my life, I really could not forgive myself for what I did. I felt a lot of self-hatred. I did. I felt so much self-hatred that I took on a job at a crappy fast food joint, almost as if to punish myself. I remember talking to several of my cousins, several of my friends, who are all grown women, who are all older than me. Every single one of them told me the same exact thing. You should apologize to her. So that's what I did. December of 2022, right around Christmas, I wanted a Christmas miracle. I did. So I wrote a letter of confession. Now, one thing that has to be understood here. This letter of confession that I wrote could have been used against me in court. It could have. And it could have undeniably labeled me as a sex offender for what I did. Even though what I did was unintentional, even though what I did really wouldn't hold up in court because it was an accident, like Gio said, like my friend Gio said. My friend Gio, he said, "Earl, what you did wouldn't hold up in court. It was an accident. It was unintentional. It wouldn't hold up in court." That's what Gio said. But it didn't matter to me that what I did wouldn't hold up in court. I wrote that letter of confession. And she could have used that letter to sue me into oblivion for what I did. And when I handed her that letter that said, "Under penalty of perjury, I confess for what I did to you. I am very sorry." You can't outrun shame in your life. You have to acknowledge what you did was wrong. She handed it back to me, and she said, "I think we should move on." So, I received forgiveness for what I did to her. I apologized to her. I approached her big brother, and he even said life's too short for hate. The one person who really never forgave me, though, was her twin sister. She stayed quiet. But she has a right to be angry at me. I hurt her twin sister. And she has every right to hate me. Matt, the big brother, can, say life's too short for hate. But if I have to be hated by who is, his twin sister, who's like, I don't know, 21 right now, when I fessed up for what I did, then I gotta live with being hated. And I've noticed that, yeah, the internet really does hate me for what I did, and honestly, that's your choice too. If you want to hate me, like, hates me for what I did, then go right ahead. I did all I possibly could to apologize to. I approached her big brother, told her I was sorry. He said life's too short for hate. Matt, big brother, he was a great friend for me at Imagine Macomb. He was sort of a big brother towards me, Matt was. But nah, he said life's too short for hate. I don't hate you for what you did, Earl, but he does acknowledge that what I did was wrong, and that I should apologize, and I did apologize, and I received forgiveness. But does it matter to the internet that I received forgiveness? Probably not. Does it matter to the internet that I'm confessing for my sins today? Probably not. I realize that forgiveness really doesn't come from these past 5 months. I've realized that forgiveness really doesn't come from the internet, does it? You could present the internet with the most heinous crime you ever committed, prove without a shadow of a doubt that was unintentional, and that was a mistake, and that you feel disgust that you did it, and that really wouldn't matter to the internet, would it? It wouldn't. The internet would still crucify you for it. The internet would still hate you for it. The internet would still label you as a sex offender for it. Now, if the internet wishes to label me as a sex offender, that's your choice. My sister never really forgave me for what I did, so you don't have to forgive me either, internet. But now I want to tell you the side of Imagine Macomb that you don't know. So please stay till the end of this video. So on January 4th, 2023, when I saw that YouTube comment underneath my YouTube video that made me think there was a bomb threat going to a bomb heading towards Imagine Macomb, and I drove my car to Imagine Macomb. I did. I was having a bipolar manic episode. I was a bipolar manic episode. Straight up mania. Straight up mania. The worst kind of feeling you could ever have. It really was. The worst kind of experience you could ever have. When I saw that comment underneath my YouTube music video, that made me think that comment made me think the worst was going to happen. Completely manipulated my emotions. Completely flipped me into a bipolar mania. I went to Imagine Macomb. and I triggered a bomb threat because I thought that YouTube comment underneath that YouTube video that I made was a real threat. And that was foolish of me. But that was my own mania being triggered by that awful thing. It was. That was my own mania being triggered by that awful comment. And what happened afterwards, after the police were called, and it was discovered the comment was a fake out threat that wasn't a real threat, the police were called, and Imagine McComb or the supervisor that talked with the sheriff that showed up to Imagine McComb, she was a great friend of mine too, and get this, she lied to the police. That's right. Imagine McComb or the supervisor that talked with the sheriff, she lied straight to the police. She lied to them. Do you want to know what she lied to the police about? First of all, she lied to the police that I quit my job, and she said that I was fired from my job. Secondly, the supervisor of Imagine McComb, who was my friend, lied to the police about the letter I wrote to the letter that I wrote to was a letter of confession, a letter of forgiveness. It was a nice letter. However, the supervisor of Imagine McComb, my good friend, she said the letter was a letter of harassment, a letter of bullying. And the second thing that the supervisor did that when she lied to the police was she now you might be wondering, why in the crap would the supervisor of Imagine McComb, a good friend of mine, why would she lie to the police about everything that happened with Well, one was she didn't want to disclose to the sheriff what exactly that letter said, because if she did, I probably would have been taken away in handcuffs for groping an 18-year-old. I would have been taken away in handcuffs for groping an 18-year-old, or even if it was unintentional, because of what that letter said. However, the supervisor of Imagine McComb lied about what that letter said. She did. She lied to the police about what that letter said, just to save me from getting arrested. I had such great conviction and shame against myself for what I did that, even though I still didn't forgive myself, it had to get to the point. Where one of the supervisors, a good friend of mine, had to lie to the police about the contents of that letter I gave the just to, one, save me from getting arrested for what I did. Even though what I did was a pure accident, it really wouldn't sound that way towards that letter. But I think also the reason why they lied to the police about the whole ordeal was that they truly wanted to make me feel at fault for what I did. They Imagine McComb, they knew that since the police were finally called to the scene, since they were never called to the scene before, the police were never called to the scene of the original incident when I grew up. No, I think never called to the scene. Never. They never would. And they never were called because it was unintentional, because it was an accident, because I only touched her chest for 5 seconds max. And, well, beyond that though. But the whole reason why I couldn't really tell you why they did that the way they did. I think that supervisor, she wanted to make me realize that, Earl, you still have friends. Earl, you still have people who are loyal to you at Imagine Macomb, who like you so much as a friend that were willing to lie to the police about the contents of the letter that you gave to and if that still blinds you to the fact that you've been forgiven, then you truly are an idiot, Earl. You truly are an idiot. And maybe I really am an idiot. These past 5 months, I have tried my utmost damnedest to make people realize that I didn't mean for any of this to happen. That I truly am still disgusted with myself for what I did. That I still truly feel shame for what I did. And yet, even when I present all of you with the facts of the matter, it doesn't matter to you internet trolls. It doesn't matter to you internet trolls that I received forgiveness. It doesn't matter to you internet trolls that I did all I could to apologize. Like, if you want to be like fucking twin sister who hates me for what I did, then be like you have every right in the book to hate me for what I did. I still harbor a self-hatred on myself for what I did. But I have to learn to move on. I have to learn to forgive myself for what I did. That's why I'm dressed up in this confession garb, to confess my sins towards the internet. So, I can even tell you guys on the internet the other side of the story about how Imagine Macomb lied to the police about the contents of the letter, about how it happened, and about how I harassed if really I didn't. Imagine Macomb wanted to cover their asses when the police showed up. They wanted to make sure they were not at fault for what happened, because if Imagine Macomb said that they never called the police after the initial incident went down, it would have ruined their business. It would have. If Imagine Macomb had told that sheriff that they never called the police after the original groping incident went down, it would have ruined their business. So Imagine Macomb lied to the police about the whole thing. They said I was fired. They said it was a letter of her harassment I sent Kayla Rice. They said I was a bully. They said I was a sexual deviant. All of that is completely untrue. And I remember lying down in that bed in the psychiatric ward hospital. I remember just lying down in that bed at the hospital, at the psychiatric hospital, after the whole thing went down, after I was carted off by the ambulance. I do. And I was thinking, like, why would they lie? Why would Imagine Macomb lie to the police? Do you want to know why they lied to the police? They wanted to show me once and for all that I still have friends at Imagine Macomb. That I should stop blaming myself. That I should move on. That I should move on from this whole thing. That I should completely ignore, tune out all you assholes online who want to ridicule me, persecute me, crucify me for what I did. If you want to do that, go right ahead. Just do it. In the end, I did all I could to be the bigger man here. In this situation, I am confessing for what I did wrong on the internet. I am manning up for what I did wrong on the internet. And if all this doesn't matter to you trolls, then that's your own choice. Then you're just like
No.
then. Twin sister. You know, it's kind of funny. Before this whole incident happened, before this whole incident went down,
Gross. What the hell?
sister was actually kind of flirting with me. Well, before the whole groping incident. Before the whole groping incident happened, this twin sister kind of flirting with me. She was 18 at the time. She was. I was 27, but I wasn't really interested in her at all. I was not interested in her. I did not want any of that. I really didn't. But beyond that, though, another thing I want to fess up here before we close, because I know this has been a really long confession video. I'm going to do a part 2 to this where I fess up for what I did wrong on the anime Discord server, even though I still did not prey on anyone. I did not groom anyone. I am not a sexual predator. I am a man who made a mistake. And if the internet wishes to bash me for that, if the internet wishes to criminalize me for that, then go right ahead and do it. I don't care anymore because you have every right to hate me. You do. What I did was wrong. If forgiveness doesn't matter to you trolls, if apologies don't matter, if lying to the police doesn't matter, then I really don't know what else to say. I don't. I was banished from Imagine Macomb. I can't go back to Imagine Macomb for the rest of my life. I can't. Because of what I did. Because of the bomb threat that I caused. And it's taken a lot of time. I remember telling this exact story. I remember telling this exact story to one of my coworkers at my job, my new job. You know, the job you internet trolls keep on calling Kroger's, right? That job. Told this exact story to one of my friends at the meat and seafood department. His name's Jack, right? He told me, Earl, what was that? Your first time feeling a boob? Were you just in shock? Tell you the truth, I kind of was. That's why still to this day, I have absolutely zero memory of what happened. I groped a woman and I have zero memory of the whole incident. I do. No joke. No joke. I groped a woman, have zero memory of the whole incident, though I was told that I groped that woman, and then after I felt shame for what I did everything in my power to apologize to her. It's kind of crazy, like, this whole crusade on the internet of being attacked by trolls and assholes online, all over an incident that happened 2 years ago to which I have no memory of, no recollection of what happened, because it happened so fast. I was only touching her boob for 5 seconds. It doesn't matter. It's still groping. I should have kept my hands to myself. But, like, gosh. It really just goes to show there is no such thing as forgiveness on the internet. That is what I have learned. That is what I have learned these past 5 months. There is no such thing as forgiveness on the internet. I can tell you people on the internet that was unintentional. I can tell you people on the internet that everyone at my job knew it was a mistake and that it was an accident. I can tell you that the police were not called when the initial groping incident went down because it was an accident. I can tell you, internet people, that even when the police were called, Imagine McComb lied to the police about the whole incident just to cover it up so that I wouldn't be taken away in handcuffs for what I did, which was wrong. Okay? You get that? Do you get that? I really have nothing else better to say. If forgiveness doesn't exist on the internet, then it doesn't exist. Then really, what is the point of YouTuber apologies? What is the point of YouTuber apologies if forgiveness does not exist on the internet? Really makes you think. Really makes you think, doesn't it? It does. It does. So here we are. I apologized to her big brother, Matt. I apologized. I did everything I could to right my wrong. However, the internet does not care that I righted my wrong. No, you don't. At the end of the day, all you care about is that I hurt somebody. All the internet wants to focus on is the negative. You don't want to focus on the fact of the positives, that I apologized, that I received forgiveness, that I fessed up to her big brother, that I fessed up to her twin sister, that even Imagine McComb went to the lengths of lying to the police to cover the whole thing up. But that doesn't matter, does it? I guess it doesn't. Apologies don't matter. Forgiveness doesn't matter. Lying to the police doesn't matter. This is the internet in 2023. You know, you trolls were never supposed to... I guess confession doesn't matter either on the internet. It really doesn't. I groped that woman, and I feel sorry for what I did. I feel ashamed for what I did. But I have to move on. It's like I think told me we have to move on from what happened. It's the only way that I will ever forgive myself. Now, the internet can say whatever they want about the whole thing. I know the truth. I know it was unintentional. I know I feel great disgust for it. And to say that again, why would a sexual predator feel disgust for their actions? They would not. I feel great, absolute disgust for my actions. I'm not a sexual predator. I am a man who made a mistake. I am a man who lives in an anime, for crying out loud. The whole cancel culture thing really harps on you, doesn't it? It really does. So, that's the whole story. This video has gone on for 45 minutes. You now know the whole story. I've been completely transparent with all of you about everything that happened. Now, here is the end of it. I apologize for what I did. I do. I apologize for what I did. What I did was wrong. What I did was also unintentional. What I did also wouldn't hold up in court because it was a mistake. Because my hand slipped. Because it was an honest mistake. Every one of my friends at the place of business understood it was a mistake. That wasn't an accident. That's why the police were never called. And even when the police were called, the police were lied to because what I did was an accident, that I shouldn't be punished for an accident, that I shouldn't be punished for something that was unintentional. And yes, I can feel shame for what I did, but ultimately I have to forgive myself and move on like told me to do. So that's it then. I am going to do an attack away told me to do. I am not going to do what you trolls are telling me. You trolls are telling me to feel shame. You trolls do not want me to get rid of my guilt. You don't. You trolls don't want me to get rid of my guilt. But I have to do what it's told me to do. I have to rid myself of my guilt. I do. I have to rid myself of my guilt. I have to confess for what I did wrong. And I have to do something to try to convince the masses online that don't want to see it that way. That just want to keep on twisting the knife and twisting the knife and twisting the knife. You know, being labeled as a sexual predator, it really hurts. Because I know I'm not one. I know I am not that thing. I know I'm not a pedophile either. But hey, right now I'm flirting with a 24-year-old woman. Yeah, right now. Right now as we speak. I am flirting with a 24-year-old woman. And yet can still be self-described as a pedophile. Yeah, makes no sense in this day and age, does it? So, do you, the internet, want to act like fucking stop and tell me to move on for what I did? Or do you want to act like her twin sister and keep on hating me forever? It's your choice. I'll leave it up to you. Now, if you want to lie about the whole situation, say that I groped a minor, which I did not at all. She was 18. I was 27. Doesn't matter, though. It was still wrong what I did, but it was an accident. Wouldn't hold up in court because what I did was unintentional. Gio told me that. Gio told me that. What you did, Earl, was unintentional. It would not hold up in court. But hell if it would hold up on the internet. Hell if it would hold up on the internet. Pitiful. It's pitiful. It is. It's truly pitiful. This has been the White Bowser. I'm signing off now. Now, you, the internet, have one of two choices. You can either hate me, like twin sister, or you can tell me to move on, like her big brother Matt did, like Gio, my best friend at Imagine Macomb, did. And you can even acknowledge that there are people who are loyal to me at Imagine Macomb for what I did, even to the point of lying to the police. so that I would not face true crimes for what I did. That letter of confession that I wrote to been held up in court. If the contents of that letter were revealed to the police, if the true contents were revealed, I would have been punished for it when the police showed up. But Imagine McComb lied to the police because they knew that I shouldn't face persecution for something that I did that was an accident. So yeah, there you go. You either tell me to move on because what I did was wrong, but it was unintentional and it was an accident. So you take the fucking route, or you take the route and you hate me till the day you die. You could take a note from Matt, Big Brother, who says life's too short for hate. You could. But life is never too short for the internet, because the internet just loves to hate on somebody after what they did was wrong, because the internet loves to shame people. Well, I'm no longer going to feel shame for what I did. I'm going to move on. I'm going to forgive myself, and I'm going to this is my apology video for what happened at Imagine McComb. If it's not enough, then nothing will ever be enough. This video's gone on for over 50 minutes. I've told the whole story. You know, to have friends at Imagine McComb who would lie to the police for you, that shows a great degree of loyalty. It really does. Maybe the internet should take a lesson from that. I don't know. It's sad. It's sad when the real world can be more forgiving to you than the internet. It is. Whatever. This has been the White Bowser. I'm signing off now. I'm going to forgive myself for what I did. I'm going to move on after what I did. This is my apology video. I'm sorry.